We're going to loosen the lug nuts while the wheels are on the ground, and then we'll jack it up. So let's get started. So on this car, this little bitty car takes 21 millimeter socket for these lug nuts. So I'm just going to go around and loosen all of them while it's on the ground. The reason for that is the weight of the vehicle is keeping the tire from spinning. If you jacked it up first and these are torqued down and you're trying to loosen them, the wheel is just going to turn on you. So it's always good to remember to loosen those up when it's on the ground. All you got to do is get a couple turns. So I'm not going to record all this. I'm just going to go around and do, there's 5 per wheel, so we got 20 of these. So we'll be back with you in a second. Alright, so the jack points on this vehicle are kind of non-existent. So almost every vehicle will have points inside of the tires, like right around here and right around here, where you can set a jack stand. However, that's not a jack point. A jack point is supposed to be a safe place in the design of the vehicle where you can use a floor jack to jack up the vehicle high enough to place a jack stand in these locations. On this car, I can't find nothing in the owner's manual or anything. So what I do is I jack the car up. You put my floor jack on these locations that are meant for the jack stands, jack up the vehicle, and then place the jack stand as close to that point as I can get, so that I have dual methods holding up the car. So I don't want to trust my life to just a floor jack or just a jack stand. So for this particular vehicle, I already had 2 big floor jacks that I used for the front because the front weighs more, and then I bought 2 smaller floor jacks just for the purpose of jacking up this vehicle safely. So I'm going to show you how we do it. I'm going to show you what these jack points look like the best I can, so that you can identify them on your vehicle. So right here is the back tire, and then under here you have what's called a pinch weld. Okay, and you're gonna see this dimpled area where this is meant to put your jack stand right here in this location. So this whole thing along here is a pinch weld, this whole thing right here, but they usually have these notches, and you're supposed to be able to put your floor jack like in between 2 notches or something like that. So right around this location. And they can get damaged from putting the weight of the vehicle on there. So not the most durable of designs, unfortunately. So then in the front, the 2 notches show up more defined. So now we're behind the front tire, and you're gonna see your 2 notches. So we would want our jack stand right there. But since we don't have a jack point, we're going to put our floor jack right there, and we're going to jack it up, and then we're going to put our jack stand somewhere close on this pinch weld, close as we can, and we're going to leave them both there. So as ridiculous as it may sound, for this vehicle I'm going to be using 4 floor jacks and 4 jack stands, and that's just the only way I've felt safe working under this vehicle. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so again, got my floor jacks in place. This one's on the jack point there. Got my jack stand ready. So what I do is I use the same jack stands every time. These are a Torin 2-ton, and I write down, I take notes how many teeth I need showing. That lets me know how high I need to jack that up. So I have in my notes, I need 4 teeth on the front jack stand, and I need 2 teeth on the back jack stand. I've got my emergency brake set. I'm going to jack the front up first, so I'm going to take these wheel chocks and I'm going to set them under the back tires, and then when we're jacking up the front, keeps the car from rolling backwards. So I just set those behind the tires. You'll see on this side, same setup. I've got my 3-ton jacks in the front. I got my 1.5-ton jacks in the back. I normally would not recommend buying a floor jack this small. Like I say, the only reason I did it was just to hold up this particular vehicle. I like the 3-ton floor jacks. So I've already got these in place. So what we're going to do off camera is my wife will be operating one of these floor jacks and I'll be operating the other, and we'll kind of go up, one of us on either side, jacking up this front until we can get these jack stands in place. Then we'll move to the back and we'll do the same thing until we have the whole car off the ground. Alright, so right now we have all the weight of the car on the 4 floor jacks, and the jack stands are pushed under where they need to be right under the pinch weld. So now what we do is we just have to gently rotate the handles counterclockwise to let the floor jacks down a little until the pinch weld is resting in the cradle on the jack stand, and then we'll tighten the handle up. And when we do that on all 4 of them, the weight of the vehicle is actually being supported by all 8 of these items. So that's what we're going to do now, and then we'll consider our car to be safely at the jack points. Okay, so we took some time and just carefully lowered the floor jacks by turning these counterclockwise. Got all the jack stands where they're touching the pinch weld, and then these floor jacks we tighten back up so that they're also touching the pinch weld. So at each pinch weld location we've got both a floor jack and a jack stand. Okay, so we're going to do the tire rotation. This car, Hyundai, is kind of backwards of every other car I've ever rotated. So what they say on their diagram is that the back tires rotate to the front on the same side of the vehicle. So that tire ends up here, and then the front tire ends up on the back side on the opposite side of the vehicle. So that tire ends up here, this tire ends up back there, that back tire ends up on the front on that same side, and that front tire is going to end up over here on this back one. So back ones to the front on the same side, and then the front crisscross to the back on the opposite side. So that's the rotation pattern. You need a 21mm socket. If you've never done tires before, you need a special wheel lug nut socket that are deep. So you have to buy like a special set of wheel lug nuts. I'll put links in the description. And so then we already loosened these when they were on the ground. So now that they're up, they're going to be easy to remove. I always just leave the lug nuts in a neat pile right beside where they were, and I just rotate the tire. I also inspect the tires. I use a little screwdriver to dig out any rocks that are stuck in the treads and things of that nature. I always inspect the tires for, like, if I see any damage to a sidewall, see any bubbling, that's a sure sign of a potential blowout that can kill you. So you definitely want to take note with your tires. Also, I torque these to 87 pound-feet of torque. That's in a range. Hyundai is very strange. Instead of telling you, they give you a range. So I usually pick something just a little above the middle or something of their range. So I torque these down to 87 foot-pounds. So we will loosen them, we will rotate them, we'll snug them up but not torque them down. Once we lower the vehicle down to the ground and the weight of the car is holding them down, then I torque them the rest of the way. But I get them all the way snug so that the wheels won't move side to side, you know, when I put the weight down of the car. So I won't video all that, but I've told you the rotation pattern and how to do all that. So, alright, we got the tires rotated, all the lug nuts are snugged but not torqued to their final torque. So now we're going to get the car down off of jack stands. So that's going to be reverse order of how we jacked it up. So we're going to start by jacking up the back just a little bit, enough to get the jack stand out of the way. Pull it out of the way and then slowly lower this part till the tires are fully on the ground. Then once that happens, we'll put our wheel chocks back in place behind the rear tires, because the car will be angled like that, so we don't want it to go backwards. It also does have the emergency brake on, but that's not enough. We want to use those wheel chocks. So we'll get rid of the whole back end, the floor jack and the jack stands. And then we'll come up to the front. We'll jack up the front just enough to get our jack stands out of the way. Then we'll use our floor jacks to lower the front tires all the way down. Get everything out of the way. Don't forget to get your wheel chocks out of the way before you try and back your car up. Once we do that, we will torque our lug nuts down to 87 pound-feet all the way around and fill our tire pressure up to 36 psi all the way around, and then our tire rotation will be done at that point. Okay, just in case you're not familiar with a torque wrench, once you set it to the proper foot-pounds, I'm using 87. When you get there, it's going to click, and that's when you stop. So that one's done. I just go every other bolt and count. There's 5. That's my last one. So that's how you torque your wheel lug nuts down. And then now we'll fill them all up to 36 psi and the tire rotation will be done.